Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us again. If you do, I'm Rangadad, and this is just how I'm looking at the market, not financial advice at all. So, pretty ordinary day yesterday on the market. Just in terms of volume and stuff, it's just terrible. I mean, we're still technically in the day's market, but it's I guess it kind of went with the trend that we expected, but just choppy as hell and not much volume coming through from Asia or even anywhere really, which is pretty typical for this time of year. But it's also something I'm going to talk about is that it's also pretty typical for the start of the month lately. Those that are running the bots will know from the testing phases that the start of the month was always a bit of a struggle. And then everything seemed to go better in the end of the month. And when you look at it here, oops, like that's the start of each month with the vertical bar there. And yes, there was a strong start here, and the bots tended to perform well during that, but you just got this chop for the rest of the first half of that month, and then we started a trend, and that's when the bots tend to go really well. And it's not just the trade deal bots, it's other stuff as well. Most other stuff anyway. And then we this was a real struggle through this part here, low volume, very choppy on the shorter time frames. And then towards the end of the month that they started to perform really well once it started trending a bit. Same thing here. This one, not great throughout most of the month, but like April and May were that period there into the start of May and stuff was pretty shitty overall. But yeah, and there's a lot of chop like this. It tends to be the start of the month there. Just the bots seem to struggle at the moment. It's not necessarily going to be the case all the time, but certainly lately it's been the case. So yeah, even the first couple of days of that month probably would have been pretty crappy. Didn't have the back test for them, but on the 5-minute ones anyway. Anyway, let's zoom in, and this looks like a pretty strong rejection, to be honest. If we close around here, and it's looking like basically just a stop hunt, bit of a bull trap even, but definitely just tidying up all the stops from this area here. So if we look at the heat map, we'll start with the 1 month. Come on. So yeah, cleaned up a lot of this liquidity. There's a bit coming in now from shorts. A little surprised we didn't get up into this area, but it is what it is. The concerning thing for me now in terms of liquidity, and it's easier, like the market will go to where the interest is. And at the moment, basically, all these are showing up as people wanting to buy. So yeah, it's probably headed down here. It's just there's not, like by volume, there's not a hell of a lot down here. It would make more sense from a liquidity perspective, and this doesn't always govern the markets. This is just part of the confluence that I'm looking at. it would make more sense to go up from here and try and sweep all these and then rip it to the low. However, as we said previously, there's not a lot of liquidity in the market. There's not a lot of people buying. And it's generally risk off across the board. That might change around relatively soon, in which case I would expect Bitcoin to have a decent run. Sweep all this sort of stuff up here. But for the time being, this has been a short squeeze, and it looks like it might try and get down here and squeeze the longs. But if we drill back down onto the 24 hour, this is looking like a pretty good target for it. Lots of people shorted these levels here. But yeah, it's this sort of area when there's low volume, you tend to find that it just chops around trying to get suck the liquidity in and then just eat it up. So again, in no man's land, but if Asia doesn't come to the party, then we could hit either one of these equally. There's no real direction from this that I'm getting. So instead, we can go to the price action. I mean, you can draw all sorts of targets. For some reason, my trend lines are gone. I don't know why. I have them on the right. They're on the different Bitcoin chart. So basically, I put it out too far, didn't I? Doesn't matter. The value area low at the moment is down around here somewhere for this top range. This does seem to be a reasonable trend line, so we could find support here, and that would potentially put in a bit of a lower high. Sorry, shit, higher low. Global liquidity has ticked up a little bit over the last couple of days as well, which is interesting. That could support the markets a bit. But yeah, in general, so job openings is actually higher. That is interesting because generally if there's more job openings, it suggests the economy is stronger than what it would otherwise, and it's going to make it harder for the Fed to cut rates, which is what the market's kind of wanting, I think, to push higher. So that's an interesting result there. FOMC minutes tomorrow might move the markets, but yeah, the unemployment rate probably will. We're not expecting much change, so that'll be an interesting one towards the end of the week. But yeah, not expecting huge moves in any particular direction here, and that'll potentially chew up any bots for a little bit, just because the US is going on holidays. Pretty much this week, really, 4th of July holidays. So, still getting no signal on this bull market smart money indicator. So that's something to keep in mind. Longs are probably not going to be preferred until we start to actually get a decent pickup of this sort of action here. That's what we're looking for. So let's go down to the shorter time frames. Just hide that. So just looking at the plain chart, it did end up kind of playing out what we thought it would yesterday. It just chopped around more than I thought it would, to be honest, too. Still haven't quite proofed out this double top yet either. So with a double top like this, you'd pretty well expect it at least that sort of distance, which would kind of make sense in here. If we do hit that, I do expect it to probably come down into here instead, at least on a bit of a wick basis. But in general, pretty decent move. Yeah, you could potentially say that that's the drop there, but like this is just crap. That's always going to get chewed up. I'll just have a quick look on the indices. So 1% day, interesting. That's, I don't know what the market's seeing there, to be honest. After that result, in terms of the job openings, I would have expected the other direction, but there you go. Didn't clear this wick though. Really needs to clear that wick to be of particular interest. Looks like it. Yeah, so close. Very interesting. Did cross on the stochastic momentum back to the upside too. Surprised if we don't hit this 20 at least though. I suspect this is forming a bit of a range here. It looks like the market trying to, where the fuck is it? There. Trying to build a bit of a, either a distribution or an accumulation range at the moment. If we break above this, then you got to expect it to at least go a little bit higher. RSP had an update, but it's still down. So the interesting thing to me today was Nvidia was sluggish. It did go up a little bit, but didn't really reclaim the level that it was at the previous day. So the overnight session dropped it back quite a bit. So the SPY definitely hasn't jumped up above that level. IWM's pretty flat. XLY, XLP, geez. Wow. This here going up suggests that there's underlying good things in the economy. Yeah, interesting. I'm not paying too much attention to this at the moment, but it kind of supports the let's go higher thesis. DJI gold is still tracking up. VIX is low as low can be. Treasuries are still in that sort of range, still slightly trending up, but certainly breaking down a bit. High yield junk is up a little. Skew has actually started to climb again, which is interesting. So if we get another update on the skew, it does suggest that we're actually going to get going up for a bit. And, you know, so far it looks like that might be the case. I can actually copper So copper's had a bit of a bounce here. Struggled against that 100 EMA though. I think that's the 100 from memory. Sorry, 20 EMA. Duh. Big rejection off that 20 EMA there. Gold, pretty flat. Not looking good though, like you're still basically holding a downward trend here. Basically gold needs to break above that trend and confirm it before we get any more on gold, I would think. Basically you'd be looking for something like that. Silver's similar, no doubt. Yeah. Let's see, the Brazilians turned around yet. Nope. Brazilian real is struggling. Yeah, it looks like it's heading for that target there. Somewhere around that anyway. 2-year, 10-year. Little bounce here. Probably because people now expect rates to stay a bit higher for longer. So they're still favouring the shorter term bonds. Stocks above 50-day moving average is still flat, but still kind of trending up. Oil, let's see what oil's doing. So oil hit that 800 EMA and is rejected off it. That was a pretty good target if anyone trades oil. What was the high on that? Yeah, 84,380. I'd expect oil to start coming down from here, which will probably give a bit of credence to a move up on the stock market in general. So the interesting thing was Nvidia had a bit of a struggle day, but the Mag 7 pushed to new all-time highs as a group. So there's still plenty of long interest out there. And it could be because there were so many puts, so many options at the lower levels, it just doesn't want to pay them out. Likely into positive gamma at the moment, which could potentially push things a little bit higher. But I think the key is going to be this level here. And if the NAS and the S&P 500 break above these previous highs, then it's going to be a decent run, I suspect, because it'll catch everyone out. So many people are bearish on the market, and yeah, we just haven't had the triggers for that overall sell-off yet. That's why you can be bearish on the economy, but you're not necessarily bearish on the market. It's just you get your hackles up. You look for those signals and those signs. You be a bit more cautious with how you're actually entering trades when you know that there's some underlying weakness that hasn't necessarily shown up yet. So interestingly, Sol's had a good day. Whether that's on the back of the talk of the ETFs and stuff like that, which I think was around this level here, Sol is a bit of a mover at the moment, really bucking the trend, as a lot of the alts have actually. So Dot, Matic, they're all looking like forming decent basing patterns here. A lot of them still left some pretty decent wicks to the downside though. So be aware of that. But with altcoins, you don't necessarily have to reclaim them. They're not necessarily governed by the same things as a more mature market. What else we got? So yeah, some crypto's down, but overall the alts have done pretty good in the face of a down day for Bitcoin. And it's not like it's just an average down day or anything. That's a significant reversal. Like that's a change of trend reversal pattern there. If it wasn't on such low volume, you'd basically be going short, expecting this thing to come down quite a way, at least back into our level here. And look, that's still probably the bias I would take at the moment without any real daily smart money coming in on this indicator. It's still biased towards the downside, but the fact that the alts are going on a bit of a run is surprising just on the basis of that pattern there. Just shows you that you can't necessarily trade alts just off what Bitcoin's doing. Sol's actually printing a first smart money candle there too, which is interesting. Might go and check some of my Sol memes and see if they've done all right. Anyway, that's about it for today, I think. I have a quick look at ETH. ETH still follows Bitcoin for the most part. Rejected off that 20 as well. Yeah. Look at that support off that value area low. That's nuts. It's also these decent levels through here, but yeah, look, Bitcoin and ETH are actually looking a bit sad at the moment, whereas the rest of the market is ignoring that by the look of it. Just means you got to be careful. Like if Bitcoin is risk off at the moment and you've got NASDAQ doing this, I'd be a little concerned about that move. Anyway, that's just me. Shorter time frames are going to be the ones to be of most interest, but the other thing is Bitcoin longs are still going up. People are still buying these dips. So it does look like, based on this, you would expect that Bitcoin has found a pretty decent bottom here, at least for a little bit longer. Yeah. So this is the CC indicator. It's looking more bearish at the moment, but it's still got a bullish trend on it. Nothing to really write home about there either way either. Just mixed market. It's just, I think it's just going to be a choppy couple of days, to be honest, with a downside bias for Bitcoin and potentially for the markets, but the markets are showing a bit more of a sign of actually breaking to the upside at the moment. So that's where I'll leave you at. Catch you later.